Hello everyone, this is Nudge, and today I am doing another electronic game purchase collection video. It's crazy. I know it's crazy, and because of that I am announcing that this is going to be the last one for a while. I've done 9 purchases on eBay in the last, starting from September, so it kind of irons out. It's just about one purchase every month, except for the fact that sometimes I purchase 2 things, because there was a pickup coil and there was a Guitar Rockstar. Those 2 are the ones that I didn't really show in greater detail, but have greatly helped my... the Guitar Rockstar kind of hasn't, but it's still really fun, and it's great that I have it. But I'm really stopping the looking for one game every month thing, because summer's coming up, my birthday's coming up, I'm just about to start, I'm just becoming 18 right now, which means I don't know what kind of expenses I'll need to start working with, and constantly working to keep my bank account afloat, if you will, is going to have to be much more important than buying electronic games. So I basically, this first year of my eBay account existing has been the year of, okay, let's just go, not completely crazy, but just crazy enough. I bought the Bop It XT, which was supposed to be a bot download. Bop It XT 2013. I bought the Uno Blitzo, which I think was okay. It's since got its batteries removed. I bought the Top It, which was for a very great price, and I'm very lucky to own one of those. I got the Super Click It, which is crazy. I can't believe that happened. I got the Hyper Slide, which again, I think if it weren't for that specific unit, I don't think I would have had one, and it's one of the best games in my collection, or one of my favorites, I mean. I bought the Pickup Coil, which is going to serve me well for the next few years, hopefully, in terms of recording things. I bought the Guitar Rockstar, which, besides its glitches, it's just fun to mess with, and it's also fun to look back in terms of what my Air Guitar Pro clone looked like and what this new one looks like in comparison. A lot of one of the main reasons why I want to buy these games is not just to own them and to have them in my collection and to play them or to mess with them. It's not just that, it's also to feel them in my hand, because I can't really look at them. So it's really interesting to think about it that way as well. Then there was the crazy package from Daniel, which I still can't believe how many things happened in that very short space of time. That was when the Guitar Rockstar happened. And then after that, I was able to get the bundle with the Bop It Shout, the Bop It Tetris, and the Bop It Download, which unfortunately, with the downloads case, it opened a kind of a can of worms. For some of you, you may know what I mean. But it's also, the unit itself, the Spin It is now almost completely boosted. I don't know if it's the batteries that I have in it, or if it really is just the unit itself, the mechanical workings of the Spin It just not working right. Unfortunately, that makes it so that I can't play it correctly. Well, even if I could, because of course, I have progressed all the way to the very beginning, to the end of level 13. My highest is 256, or was, rather, before I reset it multiple times. But yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get any higher than that, and honestly, that's all I really wanted to go for. I will be working on a custom sound pack for the download. I'm not sure when that's going to be released, or when I'll have the time to work with it, or work on it, but hopefully it'll happen at some point. So I got that, and that is where more things started popping up. Many things, in fact. so many things that I just had a choice of what it was that I wanted to get. And I did buy something this month, and it just arrived a few hours ago. I took it up from the bubble wrap package, and then I proceeded to install batteries in it, and then this happened.
Try and stop this. We got you now. Try and stop this. We got you now. Leviosa. No! You won this round.
So, let me introduce you to the Harry Potter... What is it called? I forget its name. The Harry Potter Magic Spell Challenge wand from Tiger. This was made to coincide with the Philosopher's Stone release, the movie release, I mean. So it was made in sometime in the very early 2000s, I think it was 2001. And the reason why I got this is not because I'm a Harry Potter fan. I mean, I read the books, but that's about all I really know, and it's been years since I've read them. I know most, no, I don't know most, I know some of, what's supposed to happen, but this is not meant to be a real Harry Potter thing in its design. I mean, I don't know exactly if there's anything that resembles, in terms of its look, of what it looks like, but in terms of its gameplay and its design internally, in terms of its programming, it doesn't really stand out as anything. Well, unless you mean Wingardium Leviosa, but that's just one of those little things, I guess. It's the only two Harry Potter related things that you could really say, well, except for maybe the evil wizard, but they're not named. It's not like it's a Death Eater or anything, so... And also, it doesn't matter. Honestly, you can just disregard the whole Harry Potter thing entirely, which is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this video, and just focus on it as it being an electronic game by itself. It's like a Simon, very similar to a Simon, except it controls slightly differently, and it has 6 inputs. So, I'm going to, oh yeah, before I start, I paid £24, including shipping, for this. So that's not too bad of a price, all things considered. I could have paid more. I have seen quite a few of these floating around in the UK market, and I thought I might as well jump on and get one while I could. And I think this is a good enough price, and everything seems to be working fine on this, so that is great. Okay, so let's describe this thing. It's going to be very hard. So the wand, in most of the wand coming from the side that has the speaker on it, which I think is the bottom side, the sides that, well, I'm going to call it the closest to me side, because I'm basically holding it as if it was if it was a forward and backward kind of stick thing. So I'm moving my hand forward and backward, not up and down and not left and right. So the thing that's literally bumping up against my chest at the moment, which kind of worries me because you can move, that is the speaker, or what I think would be the speaker. At this point, the wand is extremely thick, much more thick than I would think it would be. And the more you go outwards towards the end, the thinner it gets, to the point where it reaches this area on the very away from me side, the very, I couldn't call it top side, but that's what I mean, where there's a little indentation. It's a little bit like the thing that you blow into in something like a recorder. that's what it looks like, but it definitely isn't the same because you can't do anything with it. This is where the infrared would be, I think. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to test it with, but you can, if you've bought multiple of these, you can send spells between multiple of these units, and it will recognize it if you're in incorrect infrared range, that is. It's one of those 2000s gimmicks that never really seemed to catch on because then we had more reliable things like Bluetooth and stuff. I mean, just imagine how much of a nightmare it would be for something like an Apple Watch or any kind of smartwatch to be connected to your phone, and you need to be positioning it constantly just to get it to receive or send data across from the two. That would be terrible. Anyway, so let's start on the bottom or the speaker side. So on the face, or the face that's supposed to be facing up, there are 4 star-shaped buttons. Every button on this thing is rubberized, which is kind of interesting. There aren't too many electronic games with rubber buttons on them. As you can hear when I press them. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but yes, they are rubberized. On the above and a tiny bit to the right of the last button, by the way, these buttons are shaped like stars. All of them are the same shape, except, actually, no, they're not. They're a tiny bit different. They're all the same angled stars, but they have a slightly different shape. I think it's like buttons 1 and 3 have the same shape, and buttons 2 and 4 have the same shape. Kind of interesting. Anyway, above and to the right of that last button is the send button, which is only used in Game 3, which is the infrared spell challenge mode. And also, if you press this when the game is off, it'll activate the demo, which is what you just heard there in the beginning. So I'm not going to press that just yet. And the only other buttons that we can see are, again, closer to the last star button, except they're more on the left than the send button. It's a row of 3 extremely tiny little buttons. Very small buttons. The bottom one is to select game, the middle one is start, and the top one is power. So it's like the inverse of a hyper game. Same thing as with the hyper games. If you press the power button and hold it for long enough, it will turn off. But what is not like the hyper games is that if you press it once, it won't move back to the main menu immediately. In fact, if you press it during a game at any time, it'll just shut off entirely without doing anything else. Now, another thing to keep in mind is, let's continue from there. So I'm gonna talk about this first. So like above all the buttons, there is a piece of writing there. I'm not sure what that is. That might be some kind of logo of some kind. Or maybe that's the Harry Potter branding. I don't even know if it has any. Also, the design of the wand just by itself is it doesn't look like a flat, smooth, or doesn't feel like a smooth thing at all. It's very much like if you were holding a tree bark. It's made out of plastic, of course. There's no metal or anything on it, but it has this feeling of this interesting kind of design. There's also this protrusion in the middle, right next to the tiny little buttons on the side of the wand, which I'm not sure if that's where the speaker would be. I can't say. Or maybe that's just some kind of grip. I don't know. And the battery cover is on the back side. And it takes 3 AAAs in an extremely weird... Well, it's not extremely weird, but basically the only way this design allows for battery insertion is to take, it's basically a straight line with 3 batteries next to each other, a little bit like the Loops battery door, where there's 2 on each end, except there's 3 in a line instead of 2. And because of that, it's not easy to put the batteries in next to each other. They really have to fit in extremely tightly, and as a result of that, it means that the battery cover for this unit is kind of necessary in order to have it play. I mean, you could still play it with the cover off, don't get me wrong. In fact, every time you put batteries in, it'll automatically turn on. But that doesn't mean you should do it. It's not a good idea because they could fall out at any moment. It's not a very tight compartment. So if you wave this around enough, which, by the way, I haven't mentioned that yet, but there is another mechanic to this. So, yeah, they might fall out. Okay, so here's a little nifty thing that I didn't even know existed until Pixel told me this a few months ago. And I'm not sure if anyone who owns a Tiger Challenge wand knows that this exists, aside from us two. There is actually a pseudo action test, and it's described in the manual. It's called toy mode. Basically, all it does is do the action, and also there's lights in these buttons, by the way, which light up, so it's not just sounds. So it plays the corresponding sound and lights up the light for the button you're pressing. To access this mode, you have to hold down the menu and start buttons, which are the bottom 2, so the bottom and the middle tiny button. If you hold these for about a second, the unit will do that. Now, I'm going to press the star buttons from bottom to top. So that's the bottom one. This lower one is the second one. Shut up. The high-pitched one is the third one, and this slightly medium-pitched one is the fourth one. Okay, so then, as you heard, it said Leviosa. Basically, there is a little thing you can hear rattling around inside, and it will sense when it changes direction. There's like a thing inside. It's like a tilt sensor, so it tilts either up, down, or straight, and you have to tilt your arm either down or up. And you have to use those as commands as well. Now here's the problem. If you're not holding this 100% straight, it can say Wingardium. It can say Wingardium. Like if you're holding it just a bit off, like this. Well, like this, and you just hear me do it. It's very hard to explain, but yeah, it's not very easy to control. So if you accidentally tilt this when you don't mean to, it might become a problem. And the other thing this does, if you press the send button, which is on the top part next to this button, if you press that, it will make that sound. Also, you can't press too many buttons at once. If you press one, you have to let go of it first. And the bottom and the middle little buttons, they do nothing. And the top button will return to the game, the normal menu. So let's just do that. Let's actually start playing this thing, because I am excited. I'm going to press the on button, and it will.
Select game.
Select game. And it will constantly re-prompt you.
Select game.
it would just say select game for all eternity unless you hold the top button to turn it off.
Select game.
Well, unless you press the bottom button to scroll through games.
Game 1, Game 2, Game 3,
So there's 3 of them.
Game 1,
This seems to be a slightly high-pitched one.
Game 1, press start.
And then it says press start. You can
Game
press
1, press start.
any of the other buttons, do nothing.
Game 2, Game 3,
So game
Game
1
one.
is the level mode, if you will, where you have to
Game 1, press start.
Get as many
Game
sequences
one, press
as
start.
you can, and it will basically level up and become
Game
harder.
1, press start.
Game 2 is the Progressive Simon mode, where it just keeps
Game
going
2,
forever
press start.
with the same sequence and adding to it every time, instead of getting new
Game
ones.
2, press start.
And then game
Game
3 is the infrared one, where you pass them between
Game
units.
3, press start.
It only has 2-player communication,
Game
however,
1,
just like the Loops M3 would, for example.
Game 2, Game 3, Game 1,
Okay, let's go. Let's press start. Get ready.
Game 1, press start.
The evil wizard will introduce himself, as you will,
Game
if
1,
you will,
press start.
and we'll start.
Try and stop this. We got you now. No match for me. Leviosa. 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 We got you now. Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa.
As you can hear, the music, the music changes pitch the more you're in the round.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
I didn't do that.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
What happens if I wait for long enough?
Now the pace begins.
Oh,
Your powers are now mine. You completed 0 rounds. Select game.
nice! It actually does time you out. Okay. That was
Game.
a very poor attempt. So let's keep trying. Oh no.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
I didn't do that. I hate that.
Leviosa. My time just begun. Leviosa. Wingardium now. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium now. Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
So it's saying up.
Leviosa.
It won't say that for long.
Wingardium now. Wingardium. Leviosa.
You can go as fast as you want.
Wingardium now.
Ooh.
Wingardium. You won this round. Try and stop this. Wingardium. Leviosa.
See, it's not doing it anymore.
Leviosa. 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 Leviosa.
I need to remind myself.
Leviosa. 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 Leviosa.
Very hard.
Now the game begins. Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa.
I wonder how many
Wingardium.
patterns there are.
Leviosa. 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 Leviosa.
No.
Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium.
No.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Wingardium.
Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Yes.
Leviosa. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Now the pain.
No.
Your powers
Damn
are
it.
mine.
You completed 3 rounds. Select game.
Okay, so this is hard. This is very hard.
Select game.
I still need to get to grips with the different
Select
sounds,
game.
so I'm gonna keep trying.
Try and stop this. Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Wingardium. Now.
Wingardium.
Wingardium. Now.
Wingardium.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
Leviosa.
No, I did it the other way.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
But I've just begun.
Good.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Now.
3, 1, 2, 4, Wingardium.
You won this round. Try and stop this. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Wingardium.
Wingardium.
I'm getting better.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
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 Now the pain begins. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Nice.
Leviosa. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Wingardium.
Good. Good.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
So 3, 1, 2 is a very common pattern.
Wingardium.
Wingardium.
I'm getting the hang of this.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Now the pain begins.
Oh,
Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
yes.
No match for me. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa.
No.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Good.
Wingardium.
Wingardium.
Good.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Okay, this one's gonna be hard.
Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Oh, never mind.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Yes!
You won this round.
Nice.
Now the pain begins.
Okay.
Leviosa.
This has to be patterns. There's no way this is randomly generated.
Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Yes!
Leviosa. Leviosa.
No!
Police. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium.
Now the pain begins.
What?
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Now the pain
Oh no. I broke it.
powers are now mine.
You completed 5 rounds. Select game.
Apparently, there are like 8 or 9 rounds in this game.
Select game.
And it's extremely challenging. Like,
Select game.
I'm only on round 6, and it's already giving me sequences of like 9 commands. But keep in mind that, yes, I know this is kind of pattern-based. Maybe it's completely pattern-based. Maybe it just follows a strict pattern. Maybe it's like a bop it shout. But still, it's very hard to memorize as a first time. Oh, it does turn off. If you wait for long enough, it will turn off. It's not easy, especially if you're memorizing Wingardiums and Leviosas as well as the spell buttons together. It's not easy. I'm gonna try game 1 more time, give it another go, and then I'll do game 2.
Select game. Game 1.
Try and stop this.
I think it does say try and stop this.
Wingardium now. Wingardium now.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
But I've just begun.
Yes, you have.
Wingardium now.
Wingardium.
Wingardium now. Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium now.
Wingardium.
Not that hard.
Wingardium now. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
You won this round. Try and stop this. Leviosa.
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 Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa.
Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa.
Nice.
Now the pain begins. Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wingardium
Not that
Leviosa.
hard. as you can hear, every time I press a button, it changes speed back to normal.
No match for me. Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Oh no.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
What? I didn't do that!
Wingardium.
That was a very easy pattern.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
That one isn't too hard.
Leviosa.
Leviosa.
You see, this is where the tilt comes in very annoying sometimes.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
That was hard,
You won this
but it gets
round.
harder.
Now the pain begins. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
I'm sorry, what did it just say?
Leviosa. Wingardium.
No match for me. Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Now the pain
No.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Good.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Now the pain
What? Oh no. Really?
powers are now mine.
You completed 5 rounds.
I
Select
think I
game.
could have done it. Maybe, if I did that right. I pressed the wrong one by accident. This is so hard.
Game 1. Game 2.
Okay, game 2. Get ready for this.
Game 2. Select wizard.
It's saying select wizard.
2 wizard game. 1 wizard game.
So you can have a 1 wizard game or a 2 wizard game.
Press start. 2 wizard game. 1 wizard game. 2 wizard game.
And it also says press start.
1 wizard game.
I don't know what the difference is. Let's
Press
find out.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
So it keeps adding to the sequence.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
And this might actually be completely random.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
And then it stops giving you
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
the down up.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
You can hear the loop point in the music.
Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
I didn't even mean to do that. Thanks.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa.
Playing this with 6 buttons is not easy.
Wingardium.
Okay.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Nice.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wingardium. Wingardium.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wizard, you're out. You completed 11 spell commands. Press start.
Press start. Why press start? Oh, it wants me to keep playing.
Wizard, you're out. You completed
Oh, yeah.
0 spell commands. Press start.
Why is it press start?
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
It just starts over. That's weird.
Select.
I wonder why it asks you to press start. You have to physically press the on button to get it.
Select game.
I wonder why it doesn't say select game. I got to 11. I'm gonna try that one more time, I guess.
Game 1. Game 2.
You can't mash these, by the way.
Game 2. Select. Wizard.
Wingardium. Now.
Wingardium.
Wingardium. Now.
Wingardium.
Wingardium. Now.
Ooh,
Wingardium.
very easy.
Wingardium.
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 This part is just like a normal Simon, except for the Wingardium Leviosa part.
Wingardium.
Wingardium.
Very easy.
Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Wingardium.
Yes.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa.
There, finally.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Ooh.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Yeah.
Wingardium.
Yeah.
We got
Keep it up.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Yeah.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium.
I almost pressed the wrong one.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium.
No, I didn't do
You
that.
completed 18 spell commands. Press start.
18 spell commands. Why did it do that? That's one of the most frustrating fails I've had. I knew the pattern, it's just it broke because I was pointing it a slightly bit down, so it said Wingardium when I didn't mean it to. So annoying. Oh well, my amazing streak of 18 has been broken. It was fun though. Now let's see what Two Wizard game is. Let's see what that is.
Select game, game 1, game 2. Game 2, select wizard 2, wizard game, wizard 1, press start.
Wingardium. Now.
Wingardium. Wizard 2, press start.
Oh, you pass it around. Wait, it changes?
Wizard 1, press start.
Oh.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
You can work on two sequences at the same time.
Wizard 2, press start.
Wingardium. Now.
You can work with two sequences at the same
Wizard
time.
1, press start.
This is crazy.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wizard 2, press start.
You can't skip that, unfortunately.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wizard 1, press start.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium.
I'll get confused.
Leviosa. Leviosa. Wizard 2, press start.
Wingardium. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wizard 1, press start.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Leviosa.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wizard
I
2,
didn't
press
do
start.
that.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wingardium. Wizard 1, you're out. Wizard 2, you completed 5 spell commands. You win. Press start.
What happens if both of them wins? Or loses,
Wizard
rather?
1, press start.
Wingardium.
I'm gonna complete a thing with both of them.
Wingardium. Leviosa. Wizard 2, press start.
I love how you can work on two patterns at the same time. Oh, is that the same?
Wizard 1, press start.
Wingardium. Now.
No, it's different. Okay, I'll mess it up.
Leviosa. Wizard 2, press start. Wingardium. Wizard 1, press start.
Oh, if you both fail it, you get to keep going.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
Wait.
Leviosa.
That acts as a-
Wingardium. Wizard 2, press start.
That acts as a failsafe. It means that you can never die.
Wizard 2, press start.
If I just mess this up.
Wizard 1, press start.
Wingardium. Now. Leviosa.
You have infinite
Press
lives.
start.
Unless it's Wizard 2 who messes it up. I think. Let's see. If I mess it up now.
Wizard 2, you're out. Wizard
There.
1, you completed 2 spell commands. You win. Press start.
Now, remember that this game measures your spell commands in starting from 0, but you already have a sequence of 3 to begin with. So, in theory, instead of me having done 18, it really was 20 commands. So, that makes it even more interesting. Okay, so that is game 2. It's the Simon aspect of the thing, and I could see myself probably going crazy over this and getting amazing scores. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get as high as 18 spell commands, but maybe, just maybe, I don't know. I'll keep trying at some point, and I'll also definitely keep trying game 1. I'll quickly show off game 3. Unfortunately, I have no way of really demonstrating this at all.
Select game 1, game 2, game 3.
So, it's just looping this music. And what it's asking you to do is use any spell.
Wingardium Leviosa. Spell completed. Send.
Press the send button.
Spell completed. Send.
And now you're waiting for a reply from the other unit, which doesn't exist, of course. And at this point, you're just stuck here. You can press the send button all you want, but that's all that you can really do. And you can also press start.
Try and stop this.
Pressing the on button or the power button will turn it off at any time. So unfortunately, there's not much I can really do with this. I could try using the Air Guitar Pro as a laser device. Let's try that. I don't think it's going to do anything, but who knows.
Select game. Game 1, game 2, game 3. Leviosa. Leviosa. Wingardium. Spell completed. Send.
Well, I can get the air guitar to activate, but I can't get the, I wonder if I just pick up a random TV remote, if it'll do anything. Let's try it. I want to see how long this goes before it dies. This music is in a looping bar of 3 bars. 1, 2, 3. Loop. 2, 3. Okay, here's a TV remote. Let's see if I can actually get it to do anything. I doubt it, but first, in order to do that, I need to actually point the remote at the TV and turn it off. Which I don't actually think I can do. I'm gonna turn the TV off at the TV itself instead. There, it's off. Now I can mess with the remote. And I'm getting no response whatsoever, as I'm guessing And you're supposed to have it pointed towards the thing, not away from the thing. Right? So, yeah, this is not gonna do anything. I don't know what kind of messages it's expecting, but it definitely isn't getting any. Maybe if I put low batteries into it, it might do something interesting. But that will be for a later time. For now, I'll just have it turn off. So, I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll mess with this a bit more. I remember Pixel telling me this crazy story about what happened when he was messing with a TV remote while the game was on low batteries, and it was making it do extremely crazy stuff. I really do wish that the thing would actually work if I had multiple of them. I wonder if the Simon Optics could do anything. Probably not. Honestly, it's very unlikely. I don't even know where the infrared on that even is. There's nothing else that I know of that has an infrared sensor or sender or receiver, because this thing sends and receives. The Air Guitar Pro only receives, so actually there was no reason for me to even get anything from it. And the T remote was supposed to send, which it doesn't. I mean, if there was an IR blaster on a phone that I could use, like an Android phone, that would be kind of interesting, but there is no phone that we have that can do that. There's no other games that I own that have infrared capabilities, so I guess it's just going to have to be the TV remote, but maybe on lower battery power. Shut up. In fact, I'll just have you like this. I'm getting used to holding it. It's still not easy, but it's doable. Just at a flick of the wrist. It's a little bit like holding a Wiimote almost, just a tiny little bit. It's very circular though. It's not like a Wiimote where it's all triangle and squared. Triangle. I meant squared, really. But I mean like the flick of the wrist in terms of like swinging it or like tilting it up and down. The same motion applies here. Well, if you can shut it up, like.
Select game.
And you have to hold the button down for a bit longer for it to actually turn off. If you hold it for too long while it's off, it doesn't actually turn. It doesn't actually stay off. Although I don't actually know if the hyper games do that. If you press the button but hold it down even when the game is off, does that still turn on no matter how long you hold it for? Not sure. But yeah, that is the Tiger Magic Spell Challenge wand, and I'm very happy to be the owner of this one because it's another interesting game, a very challenging one, hence the name. I've barely even gotten anywhere with it so far. I wonder if the infrared is like on the... No, it has to be on the top part, right? I mean, that's where the holes are. That's where the thing is, so... Because there's this weird protrusion on the bottom that I think that's just for screws in case you want to take it apart, which you can do, although it's not very easy. The battery cover is extremely thin and long on this one, It's a little bit like the battery covers you would find on in a TV remote, or for a TV remote, or at least the ones that we have, but it's much more like a line instead of like a rectangle. I mean, it still is a rectangle, but it's an extremely what is the opposite of wide? I don't know, but like that. It's not wide at all. It's much more like a line than a rectangle. And it just goes up and down. And of course it molds into the same kind of wood-feeling plastic design that the rest of the wand has on it. So yeah, at some point, when I get enough time, when I have enough time, I will take those AAAs from the Rockstar, for example, or the Zing It, and I'll put them in this. See if I can get it to do, because remember, this doesn't save any high scores, so there's no reason for me to not mess with batteries. And I do find it weird how the speaker on this is kind of moving around, if that is where the speaker actually ends up being. Or maybe I'm still assuming that the infrared is on the very away from you side, the one where the one's the thinnest, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is on the side with the speaker, but that would be really weird, because how would you... Because you're supposed to, like, touch the ends of the wands together in order for them to communicate, right? I mean, that's how I see it. That's how I would probably do it. How I would imagine it being. I don't know. And I'm not planning on getting a second one anytime soon. I just want one, and that one will be the only one that I'll have. I can't say if it's... I think this is like in between low and... in between normal and high-pitched. It's very close to normal, but not quite. Although I can't say, because, again, Pixel's had like 2, maybe, I think. And Sam's had maybe 1, maybe 2. And the one that we have in recording is lower, but Pixel's are higher, or one of them at least is higher. So I don't know. There's not enough people who have this game in order for me to tell what pitch it's supposed to be. At least it's good as a shaker. A very crude shaker, but a shaker nonetheless. And of course, it's also good as a very intense brain workout for anyone who needs a 6-button Simon that doesn't always respond to your inputs correctly. Yeah, this is the game for you. It's the reason why I love this game is because of, like, they could have just made this lazy tie-in where it was nothing more than a Simon, like the Ditto Droid, for example, was. But instead, they went all out and made an entire level system, and they also made a 2-player Simon co-op game where both of you get your own sequence. How cool is that? That is so cool. Or at least for me it is. The first, like, when I discovered this just in this recording, I was kind of blown away. I mean, in theory, everything is possible in terms of programming. It's not that hard. But still, it is really cool. And I completed 18 spell commands. Unfortunately, I only completed 5 rounds both times on game 1. I'm hoping to change that. What happens if you press the start button while it's in demo mode? Nothing.
Try and stop this.
Leviosa.
By the way, here's another thing. Until I got this game, until the first time I pressed that demo button, I didn't know that the demo is actually automatic. It generates a sequence of spells, and the game will do it for you. You cannot press anything. It'll do it by itself. It's not you who's doing it. In the times in which I heard other people, like Pixel, for example, show this game off, I was imagining that they were the one doing the commands. But no, it's fully automatic. You can't actually do anything. You just have to sit there and wait for the game to play itself, basically. it's only 2 sequences. One is 3, one is 4, and then it stops. And of course, I don't actually think in the original box, maybe the only thing that was sticking out was the send button. And so that's why, because you couldn't actually see the other buttons. Oh, no, actually the reason why might have been that you can't physically tilt the box up and down for Wingardium Leviosa. That would have been weird if you could. I mean, in theory you could, but I don't know how big of a box this came in. I can't really tell you a form of reference as to how big this game is. It's not big. It's not as big as something like a Hyper Slide or a Bop It Extreme 2, but it is not as portable as, say, a Flip Slide or a Bop It Micro or whatever. It is, I guess in size it's kind of the same as something like a Bop It Tetris, but it's more light and it doesn't weigh as much, or at least I think. That's what I would say, but it's very hard to describe because it's this thick, circular, wand-shaped thing. It's not like any other shape, like a square or whatever, that you're usually used to, or any kind of even the slanted circles or that kind of stuff on the Hyper Slide. It's not the same, so I can't really give any reference to that. It's much more longer than any of the other games. Well, unless you mean the Torx, in which case the Torx is still longer than this with the arms extended out. But that's to be expected. Anyway, that was that. I'll just have this do a little thing.
Wingardium.
Try and stop this. Wingardium now. Leviosa.
Wingardium Leviosa.
No! You won this round.
So yeah. I hope you enjoyed. It was really fun messing with this for the first time, and I'll definitely come back to this. I don't know when, but I will. And stay tuned for the next month or so, because I'm not done uploading videos. I know there's more to come. I still have a few things that I need to upload, that I need to plan out, that I need to think about. And then, as I say, this is going to be the last game I'll be getting for a while, because I don't want to get any... Well, who knows? It all depends, because maybe there will be a little surprise that some people may already know about. Who knows? Maybe that will happen. But I won't be getting anything of my own with my own money for a bit longer until probably the next fall. So for the next 3 or so months. I don't want to be wasting that much of my money because I don't know where it's going to go and how it's going to end and whatever. So until then, in this uncertain time, I'll be uploading more things about other topics like Rhythm Heaven Megamix and whatever else. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys next time.
25 notifications. Do not disturb. Pause button.